Okay, guys, good evening. My name is Ami Daniel from Windward, and I'm going to try and give you a sneak and peek into the fascinating and amazing world of shipping. I'm kind of from a different story, and I'm going to tell you a lot of stories today. So let's get going. We're going to talk a bit about what we call AIS cybersecurity and the growing data manipulation on the high seas, which is, I think, a bit unorthodox for this forum, but unorthodox can be good sometimes. A bit about us. So we're a specialized data company, about 25 people, headquartered in Tel Aviv. What we do, we take old world shipping expertise and combine with cutting edge data scientists. Yes, shipping. And so we employ ex-ship captains. Myself, I'm ex-Navy. We work with shipping economic doctors, guys who move big pieces of metal on the sea. We address a new challenging big data area, which is called maritime big data. And we think this has huge implications for both finance and intelligence, and I'm trying to prove it today. In one sentence, this is what we do. We try to revolutionize our understanding of vessels' activities across the oceans. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story here in a vessel, which is going to try to lead us into the presentation itself. So this is a story of a vessel called the Phidias. You see just a recording of our screen. This is a very far in the Middle East, in the middle of the desert. They're a country called Israel, and this is on the top, this is Cyprus. We'll focus on one single vessel. Every vessel here, every symbol is a vessel. This is a vessel called the Phidias. It's a 183-meter tanker vessel carrying crude oil out of the Black Sea of Russia. About 600,000 barrels. It's coming from the Black Sea towards Cyprus, doing something and coming back, what we call an aimless journey. Therefore, we flag it out for strange behavior. The orange segments here are the strange behavior parts. By the way, it's registered, has Liberian flag, which you can buy for $5,000. It's an offshore, like an offshore company. So it's waiting here right now. It's 11 p.m. It's waiting for everybody to clear out. Now everything is clear. It's turning on its engines and joining with this vessel 40 miles southeast of Cyprus. It's 2 a.m. There's no one around. They're joining, transferring ropes. Something is starting to happen. We see draft changes, oil coming from one ship to another ship. And we say, okay, want to see what's really going on there. We task 2 radar satellites, active satellites, 1.5 tons each. And you'll see 2 red frames in a second. We'll turn on one of them. Each one is a synthetic aperture radar image. Turn on one of them, just gray background, white spots. Doesn't say a lot of things without analytics, but if you zoom in and use analytics, you see these are not only white spots, these are the 2 vessels joined. And what's more interesting is what you don't see in the picture. You don't see a small vessel, which is called a tugboat, which is mandated by the safety regulations when doing this type of operation. So you have 2 huge ships, size of 2.5 football or soccer courts, transshipping in the middle of night, middle of the sea with no tugboat. So the oil came from the Phidias to this vessel. This vessel is called the King Philippos, Malta flag. Also, you can buy it for $10,000 a year. It's very nice. It can carry 1.5 million barrels of oil, but only carrying 600,000. Going all the way towards the other side of the world to Indonesia, where it transships with a 3rd vessel, which takes the oil to an illegal refinery in Indonesia and spreads it as oil products, as fuel. What's more interesting is the shipping economics behind this story. This vessel cost about $2.5 million lump sum for this voyage, back and forth. That means that someone had to buy the crude oil in Russia in an off-market deal. Like ISIS sell for $40 a barrel, it's the same. All of this is happening under our nose, and nobody has any idea what's happening in sea. Or at least didn't have until now. So why we should all care about it. Seaborne trade is a huge field, talking about numbers of $2,823 billion of crude imports, 50% of that by sea, coal, grain, wheat, cocoa, basically everything transported by sea, and everything affects us. But we don't know significantly more than we knew 300 years back. And this is the backbone of the global economy. So, what changed? There was a change event in the world of satellites 2010. You've heard names like Spire, Planet Labs, Skybox was acquired by Google. Wow, microsatellites, they're conquering the Earth. They can give us all the data. But what do we do with it? In 2010, these vessels started picking up vessels' transmissions. And for the first time in human history, you could have known what's happening with a vessel which is not your own. These transmissions is called AIS. AIS was invented in 1960 Yes, 1960. Was mandated in 2002. It basically says, if I'm a vessel and Matt is a vessel, we're going to both transmit our position to each other every 2 seconds. Here's me, here's me, here's me, here's me. If I have a power shutdown, it should be simple enough for me to punch in a few numbers and reboot the system. And now I can say, not here's Ami, here's someone else, here's someone else, here's someone else. And that's the problem. So we have 100 million data points a day, analog, which are based on an honor system that trusts every vessel to tell whatever it wants about itself. And now let's talk about data. This causes us a big problem of data corruption and data integrity. We talk about analog data that you have to transform to digital that can be corrupted. There's an honor system. It picks up by satellites. It's different providers. There's no data validity, no information assurance, no mechanisms. Why? It's for safety. It's not meant for anything else. What we're doing is what we call an off-label use of this data. Secondary applications. Data miner uses Twitter, right, to do something else. But Twitter is digital. Twitter API is manufactured by a company called Twitter. The LinkedIn API is by a company called LinkedIn. The AAS data is by no one. So we have a problem of data orderliness. Every satellite picks up ships at a different time. There's a satellite gap. It takes time to download, to transmit. So one satellite can see me now, one satellite can see me in 2 minutes, but the order in which you receive the data will be exactly the opposite. Why? Physics, satellites. Data quantity and the calculation complexity. You don't only count clicks. You do a lot with this data. You create entities, you create positions, you create kinematics, you create predictions. So, going forward, 5 years ago, there was nothing on the screen. You would put up the AIS screen, it was empty. Today, it's super full. So what do we do with this information? So now, everybody can look up ships. Shippers and cargo owners now know they're being watched. Profit gainers from market opacity are incentivized to regain their advantage. And this is the point. Nobody was looking at nobody before. And now everybody is looking at everybody all the time. And therefore, manipulation is on the rise. Humanity, my friends. So, we get up into an illusion of knowledge, opaque role, decision makers taking decisions with things they don't know what they really mean. For criminal and for financial incentives. Criminal is, I want to smuggle a huge amount of weapons from North Korea too. I want to fish illegally. Financial is, I want to make more money on oil. Mark Rich, the king of oil, said, in the world of commodity trading, knowledge is power. You have the edge. And if I know that you are looking at me, maybe I'm big enough to move the market. Maybe I'm big enough to make you think I can move the market. So we just published a new report on to quantify how much this data is being manipulated for the first time ever. I'm going to focus on 2 methods. One is for the intelligence world, one is for the financial world. We have an intelligence product up and running for 2.5 years. Our financial product is in stealth mode, but I want to walk you through this. Identity fraud. Basically, ships like Jason Bourne from the Bourne Identity can use false IDs. Who's seen here Jason Bourne? Wow, a lot of people. I like that movie. So, identity frauds. 1% of all the ships today transmit false identity. That's like 1,000 people coming through JFK every day with false IDs. And that shot up 30% in the last 2 years. And these are the same 1% we're looking after. It's not a random 1%. So, how does it look like? I'm focusing on my time, Matt. I'll be a good boy. So, this is a real story of a dead vessel. I won't tell you its name, but this vessel, you see here, big piece of metal, was scrapped, dead, went into, became razor blades in December 2012. But 1 year afterwards, it reappears for the first time in India. We see it here. As you can see, all the vessels here are huge container ships. These are very small vessels. It exits India in the middle of the night and goes into the great and pleasant area of Iran in Fujairah. Does something here. Onwards to the great vacation site of Busaso in Somalia, and onwards from them to Oman. I can't interpret that in any other way other than smuggling. And this vessel has never seen before or after this event. And it's been using a false identity and has been passing here around about 20 ships of NATO. It's not alone in the world, but still it's been doing this and nobody knows. On the finance side, people use today this ship transmission data to predict supply and demand in markets. Basically, the protocol says every ship should report where it's going. The traders, these quants funds, these banks that my colleague Chang talked about before, take this data, look at it, and say, oh, ship says they're going to Brazil. Oh, they're going to Brazil. So no, 40% of the ships go to Brazil. Moreover, 40% of the ships go to Brazil, but they report their final destination final destinations. And 55% of ships misreport their actual port of call through all the journey. And let's talk a bit about a story of a vessel. I won't tell you its name, but this is Hog Island in Iran. It's coming here and it's loading oil. It's about 200 meters and can take 1.1 million barrels of oil. And it's coming here and sitting here in jetty number 3 about 24 hours. Every hour, this jetty can load about 45,000 barrels. So we know how much is loaded on the vessel. But when it's leaving this island, it's actually doing two things. Number one, it's reporting a shallow draft. The draft is the depth of the vessel. You can use a depth to calculate the amount of cargo. So these guys don't want anyone to know the amount of cargo, so they manipulate the draft. The second thing, they manipulate the destination. They're saying they're going to Banjul. Who knows in the crowd where is Banjul? I'm disappointed. You told me where is Banjul? India? Very nice. But it's not New Mangalore. I have no idea where is Banjul. I think I gotta say, I thought it was West Africa. I have a short story to say. I'm sorry to stop. Short story. I did a presentation 3 years back. It was the Office of Chief Scientist, and there was we showed the fisher research, and we said there's a lot of fishing in Newfoundland, and I said, and nobody has any idea where that is. The guy looks at me and says, "Hey, I was there last week." So it's Newfoundland and it's Banjul. It's about the same place, I think. Anyway. Banjul. So it has a very shallow draft, and it says going to Banjul, but it's going to New Mangalore, so it's actually misreporting its destination. It's that easy. So today, traders, quant funds use data that is being increasingly manipulated, increasingly unreliable, and they have no idea this is happening. This report is going out for the first time this week, and for the first time in the industry. So let's talk a bit about, and it's getting into the very small jetty. Let's just talk about a few words about implications. On the world of intelligence, this undermines the whole concept of watch lists. Today, the modern paradigm of intelligence says this. You'll have a list of 20 vessels and 50 vessels, 100 vessels, 1,000 vessels, and you look after them. But if I can change my identity every single point in time I want, you cannot rely on your watch lists, and you can trust no one. This changes the whole paradigm of intelligence. On the world of finance, this shows you that people can manipulate freight and cargo pricing, create a distorted picture of supply and demand in the cargo markets. And remember, $2,823 billion of crude imports, 50% via sea. That's a big issue. We call this Oceans 2.0. Oceans 1.0 was a bit naive. It was a bit opaque. This is the new world. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. This was terrific. How many death threats so far?
Death threats? None, but the night is young. I'm going afterwards to Banjul. Maybe, maybe I'll be one of there.
You didn't talk too much about customers, and that's as I had asked you to do. So thank you for doing that. But any thoughts on who buys that data? How you eventually turn this into a very large data company?
Okay, so who buys this data? A lot of people. Countries buy it for millions. Commodity traders buy this, not from us, the raw data. Commodity traders buy this for hundreds of thousands. people buy it for hundreds of dollars. We buy data from all the providers, about 100 million data points daily, and use cutting-edge technologies to create profiles of vessels 4 years back and create an understanding of who you are, your economic profile, transactions, kind of like PayPal, fraud detection, and then look for anomalies on your behavior and do clustering, event processing anomalies and filtering for finance and for intelligence. Intelligence is who are the bad guys, singular vessels. Finance is looking at the physical flows of cargoes to create a real-time event discovery of market opportunities, because the market is very opaque, nobody knows what's happening.
So customers are hedge funds and intelligence agencies or target?
Today, all customers are intelligence agencies. The company has grown 3x in the last year, and the finance product is in stealth mode, but we're working with a few very interesting people.
Very good. I want to open it up to questions. If you could start with name and company, please.
If you're smiling, I'm happy.
Absolutely. You're very entertaining.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it. I'm Larry Schiller. I do data stuff, but not like you. This is great. So I think I was thinking about how people would respond to this, and is there an irony to the fact that if world government, and whatever that means, were to come and try to solve this problem, that it would not be great for you financially? Here you are doing all this great transparent stuff, and yet if the problem were to be solved, where would that leave your business?
I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand what this problem would be solved, because this domain is so big and there are so many subdomains. For instance, insurance. How do you solve this problem for insurance? Does the insurance care about maritime? Of course it cares. So I think it's very, very specific on what's the problem you're solving. For intelligence, we're solving a very, very focused problem that I don't think it's that easily solved. And for the finance world, I gotta say, I've learned that everybody has a profession, and the profession of traders is to make money. Our profession is to use shipping data to find opportunities and find anomalies. That's two different professions. So I'm not seeing this problem that easily solved, I gotta say.
But it can transfer to other industries. You're also
It totally can transfer to other industries. We had to make a choice what we don't do. I think our big dilemma in the company is not it's what we don't touch with, and because everything is so underdeveloped. Everything is a very big market opportunity. The question is, what can you disrupt and how can you build a very big company very fast?
Great. I'll pass on the mic.
It's not a question on Banjul, right?
No.
Okay.
My name is Carlos from Lockheed Martin. My question is, do you track the vessel from the Straits of Dardanelles to the Mediterranean, or you was in the Mediterranean, South Mediterranean Sea, that you start tracking the vessel?
No, we track the vessels globally. The whole idea is we don't focus on a specific area. Vessels trade in all the world, in all the ports. So I think that's something the difference with us. A lot of people, again, Lockheed Martin for the US, by the way, buy AS data, but it's for the US. Am I correct? Okay, so we don't buy for the US. We buy for the world. We buy everything.
When you're tracking that vessel, you're tracking from the Straits of Dardanelles and the Black Sea
to the Mediterranean and back, yeah.
So over there, Andrew, thank you.
Sure. I'm Libby Englander. I'm with Farmer. I'm very much interested in your talk. I thought it was terrific. What I didn't really get a sense of is how much embedded sector knowledge is important in terms of looking at...
How much, sorry, is what?
Embedded sector knowledge is important in terms of finding anomalies. So in a sense, when you say there's anomalies and we pick them out, kind of you need an outcome variable if you're doing this statistically, right? So the outcome variable, I'm wondering, is it actually an outcome variable, or is it you saying, look, logically, if you've got a boat that's going in circles, that's weird? And how do you kind of think about the overlay of formal sector knowledge and statistical analysis?
It's a great question, and I'll try to give you an answer by an example. 3 years ago, we had an algorithm called ship stopped. That means the ship stopped in open sea and did something. But the problem is that there was a wrong algorithm, because for tanker vessels, it's totally normal to stop in open sea because they're waiting for a job, and the most economic speed is 2 to 6 knots. So you can't treat all the vessels the same. So when building the algorithms, you have to have loads of domain knowledge, and I don't think there's any single person on Earth that knows all types of shipping. Tankers and bulk carriers and container ships are totally different. There are also there are fruit juice tankers, by the way, if you didn't know. So you have to have really deep domain knowledge, and we actually search for people all the time to join the team that have these sectors of knowledge. But we're going more towards a statistical approach, and we try to combine between the two, and I think that's the barrier to entry. Because a person can be a great data scientist. I don't think that without being really, really into shipping, you can make something out of this. But on the other side, there's a glass ceiling. On a rule-based technology, you can't go too far. You have to go to machine learning, especially on trading and finance. Because on intelligence, you can provide an exoskeleton for an analyst that does a job. They don't want you to do the job for them. They just want to buy tools from you, right? Like they do from Palantir, for instance. But on the finance side, we think that because nobody had access to the physical flows, they weren't able to understand what's happening. And even we are surprised from what we find in the data. We didn't know we could find these things. So it's a combination of the two, I think. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That's all the time we have, but that was terrific. Thank you much. And you'll be around, right? After
Yep,
this?
I'll be around.